Chapter 5. Chapter 5 in this edition of the textbook is different from Chapter 5 in the previous textbook. I'm going to go through and I'm going to briefly state these, but the importance of this chapter is it's pretty much the culmination of the theoretical, or the most theoretical parts of curriculum development. And so I'll just talk briefly about the different headings here, and I'll go into more depth a little bit later. First off, we're getting close to the time when you're going to start working on your research project, which is an action research project about you and the schools, in particular, your classroom. What is happening in your classroom so far, and how would you like to change what is done in your classroom in the future? And so you're going to be looking at your practices and what the assignments the students have been doing, your previous philosophy, and then maybe based on this course and other courses you've had, you might want to do things differently next year. And so this course and this project is going to help you to make that transition from how you taught last year to how you will teach next year. So establishing the philosophy, and we've talked about this already in previous assignments, and you're going to be establishing a philosophy for yourself, and you're going to be writing about that. That's coming up before too long. And then we have formulating goals and objectives, and you're going to be formulating you're going to preview, or you're going to review what you did last year in regard to your goals and objectives, and you will think of the future data for instructional planning, and you're going to have data. You're going to have student data. Now, you're going to hide the names of the students, but I'm expecting you to have student data, for instance, which are working at grade level in the different areas and which ones were not at grade level. That will help you for data, as well as what you know about the STAR exam, if the STAR exam is something that your students need to complete during the next year. And then about teachers in the classroom, read about that, the different configurations and so forth. You're not going to cover that so much, except for you as a teacher, how you might be different next year based on your curriculum choices. And you have learning theory choices. Maybe the way you taught last year is not the way you want to teach next year. I remember my first year, I came at it very traditionally, and because I had a separation of like 20 years between the time I did my student teaching and the time I actually taught in the classroom. And fifth grade and how teachers teach was very different between that time. And especially from the time, I started teaching like I was like 45 years old when I started teaching fifth grade. And I was in fifth grade like, 35 years earlier than that. And so how I was taught shouldn't be the way I should be teaching in 1996, for instance. So you had to make learning theory choices. I wasn't sure what they were. I was more used to a traditional, but then after research and study, I was able to find theory choices that I would use, and which I have continued to use in my college courses. And then teaching with cognitive focus. And what does that mean? And of course, the cognitive focus is that what they're learning, what students are learning. And that's the most important thing. And how are you going to design that? And then providing leadership, of course, you will be a leader. Now, I want to spend a little more time talking about goals and objectives. In the state of Texas, I'm sure most of you know that. I'm sure that all of you know that our goals and objectives are more easily found in the TEKS or the TEKS, however you want to pronounce that. And to find that, to do a Google search, just type in TEKS, T-E-K-S, and you'll go to this page, and Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, and then you will go, and we're going to go to Social Studies 6th grade. I'm not sure if any of you are teaching 6th grade social studies, but I'm going to go to 6th grade social studies. And we have the elementary, we have the middle school, and we have the high school. And in Texas, middle school is considered starting with 6th grade. In other states or in the federal government, elementary school is considered all the way up through 6th grade. I went to elementary school through 6th grade. My grandchildren, their school, elementary up through 6th grade, and they go to junior high school or middle school in 7th grade. But this is a nice transition time, and everyone is pretty much familiar with the social studies topic, so we're going to look at that. Now, the more general goals will be found in the introduction. Okay, and so here are your goals. The 8 strands of essential knowledge and skills for intended to integration of instructional purposes. Skills listed in the social studies skills strand in subsection B of this section should be incorporated in the teaching of all essential knowledge skills for social studies. Okay, this gives number 3 here, gives some ideas on what you should be, how to approach these. And then you have here, you have the different strands. First, the legislature put this in number 4. Students identify the role of U.S. free enterprise system within the parameters of this course. Understand that this system may also be referenced as capitalism or the free market system. And then throughout social studies, kindergarten through grade 12, students build a foundation in history, geography, economics, government, citizenship, culture, science, technology, and society, and social studies skills. Now, these are the different strands that you would find in there. You have goals for each of these. And so, and then they talk specifically about students understand that a constitutional representative form of government whose representatives derive their authority from the consent of the governed, serve as an established tenure for an established tenure, and are sworn to uphold the Constitution. Again, probably the legislature put that in there. And so the state and federal laws mandate a variety of celebrations, observances, including Celebrate Freedom Week. What that is, that's something the legislature put in there. Again, I believe this is very Texas. I don't know if you'll find this in very many other states, maybe some southern states and so forth. So you're getting a little bit of the philosophy in here as well as the goals. And you're going to learn, the students are learning a lot of stuff about history and geography, economics, and so forth. But according to the Texas legislature and the government of Texas, there are certain things in here that look like that they are unique, perhaps, to Texas. And so they're even putting in the curriculum that you will have Celebrate Freedom Week and so forth. And then you can go through, and so you would find your goals, the most broad areas in here, in this section, in your introduction. And it's not listed as goals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but as you read it and carefully read it and digest it, you'll get an idea of what they're talking about. Then we go to the more specific, less general, and you have the different strands. Here they are: geography, economics, government. Those are your goals, and within your goals on history, student understands that historical events influence contemporary events. That is more specific, broken down subsection of the history. And then when you go to the most specific, the behavioral, and they list it as level 1, level 2, level 3, for instance, in the textbook. Then you're talking about trace characteristics of various contemporary societies, and that's with an action verbs. The student is expected to trace characteristics, analyze the historical background, identify and describe the influence, evaluate the social, political, economic, pose and answer geographic questions. Of course, this is the students posing and answering geographic questions, not the teacher posing and answering geographic questions, because that's how it's stated here. The student's expected to. Of course, you're going to model for them, and you're going to give them a learning environment so that they will be able to do each of these specific objectives, behavioral objectives, the behaviors. And so that's how it's broken down here, and you're going to be doing some of this, and you're going to be talking about these things, some of your goals. And when you do your action research project, elementary students, elementary teachers, don't worry about it. You're going to pick one subject area. It can be science, it can be social studies, it can be math, or it can be language arts reading. And that's what you're going to focus on for this project. So I suggest that for your grade level, and if you're an English teacher, You can do English 1, English 2, English 3. Let's stay away from AP English. Let's do English 1 perhaps. If you're a biology teacher, you can do biology. If you're a chemistry teacher, you can do the chemistry. And so we'll see what you come up with, and you're going to do a proposal, and you're going to tell me exactly what grade level and what content area that you're going to be doing your project on. And you're going to be collecting all your information from last semester. You're going to be studying. You're going to come up with your philosophy. You're going to go more into depth as to what your goals are, the general goals, which you will get a lot of that from the TEACS document. And you will have your sub goals, also general, and you probably won't do the very specifics. You probably won't get down to the letters. You'll probably get us down to maybe the numbers and so forth. So this is the introduction to Chapter 5. If you have any questions, please give me a call.